Morning, everybody. How you all doing? Again, this is the difference between radio and doing this live with the whole audio bit and all that jazz. Here I am, getting ready, making sure I'm all sneezy. Check it out, check it out, check that out. Check that out. If you don't know what that is the Charlotte Black Hornets. Respect it, respect it. You know, I always represent for the Negro Leagues, and this was a minor league team for the Negro Leagues. Took me forever to find this daggone jersey, but I finally found it. And when I found it, I definitely bought it because, again, it took me forever to find the mofo. So definitely had to add that to the collection. I've decided now that I'm older and I've pretty much exhausted almost everything I can freaking find for the Eli Giants, the Baltimore Black Sox, the New York Black Yankees, the Harlem Stars. Though hopefully, when I go abroad this year, I'm able to expand even more of that universe. Um, I'm going to get more teams. So I started, believe it or not, with New Orleans. I got the New Orleans jersey. I've gotten the Washington Black Senators. That's very hard to find. Very hard to find. So again, I saw it, I clipped it, I got it, and I'm adding it to the repertoire. Additionally, the Grays, the Monarchs. Obviously, those are hallmarks of the league and the time. So I'm always looking for stuff for them. But I'm just open at this point. I really am. I'm open, very much open to getting anything and everything I can get. I don't know. It's just a feeling over me right now that the end may come. I don't know if it's for the run or for me. Don't know, but I'm just trying to stock up on as much stuff as I possibly can get to have a very nice representation for real. And the other thing that I'm seeing is more and more people are wearing the attire now, which is awesome. It is really awesome. Shouts out to my twin. If you all don't know, Sister Kim. She and I share the same birth, not the same year, but the same day of birth. And she sells Negro League memorabilia, also Buffalo Soldier memorabilia, the Divine Nine garb as well, as long right along with the Buffalo Soldiers and Tuskegee Airmen. Well, she was at the conference, the NAACP conference in Charlotte. Didn't know she was there. I'm there. I'm registering. I'm turned around, not paying attention to the person that was checking me in because I do this shit every year, right? And I'm like, twin. That's what we call one another. So I'm seeing the back of her. So I called out. She didn't pay no damn attention. So I called her on the phone, and she was like, "Where you at?" I said, "I'm behind you." So later on, I actually went down, spent some time with her, helped her with her stall and stuff, and that was cool. That was mad cool. It's always nice to see her. It's even nicer to interact and be of some service to her while she's out there doing her thing because that's absolutely amazing. Let me tell you, she had people constantly coming to the table. I'm sorry, constantly coming to the table, buying stuff, which is even more better. Folks were there for themselves, their significant other, or one of their parents. There were a couple folks that came up, and their dad either was a member of the Negro Leagues or they wanted to find something commemorative to give to their father because their father talked about the Negro Leagues and watching those games growing up. And there was some elders that were definitely represented by their children. So that's what's up. Met a family member, didn't know we were family till we met one another for real, for real. And we started talking. He was there with his wife, their children, and he bought a couple of things for his sons, himself. And that was awesome to see. It was a lot of young folks. Well, that's not true, but it was a nice amount of young folks that were buying attire or attire was bought for, and they were very grateful. They were knowledgeable. They were open to it, which was even more better as well. So yeah, it was a good look, very good look. You know what I'm saying? Um, I'll get into that before getting into the rant. Since I already started on that, let's just continue that. Um, so the NAACP convention this year was held in Charlotte, North Carolina. Oh God, I forget the thing. I forget the theme because last year was All In, and I knew that that was locked in because every time I saw it, it was I don't remember. Well, whatever. I'll come back to that. It'll come to me later on. Anyhow, I was very much impressed by the turnout. I was very much impressed by the young folks' participation. I was very much impressed by the moves that the president is making. So this year, Charlotte, next year, Chicago. Last year, as you all remember, it was in Vegas. Uh, I'm liking the expansion of the event, the more inclusiveness of it. As a media person, it's lovely when you get access to a number of different rooms. I was in one room that I wasn't supposed to be in. I was actually asked to leave that room, but it wasn't ignorant. Uh, it was a lot of great information that I gathered, and respectfully to them, that'll be it as far as I'm saying on that. But yeah, it was good. It was very good. It made me rethink my position on the organization. It made me rethink my position on my participation in the organization. So I have started Thomas Berry looking into my local chapter,
Yep.
and I will more than likely, sooner than later, be a thorn in their side and sitting amongst the peoples. I
Nice.
um,
So that's what's
can't hear
up.
you. Yeah,
I said that's what's up, man.
yeah.
I'll pay your membership fee.
Okay, okay.
You get
Yeah,
in
yeah, absolutely. That he said he was saying that we need more people and we need younger people. Absolutely. No disrespect to the elders, but they run their race. At some point, we younger folks, even though I'm not the youngest one in the bunch, we younger folks have to pick up the baton and keep it moving,
there.
keep pushing it forward, keep pulling it if we need to. So definitely. Um, and again, shouts out to the president, man. Shouts out to the president. I got to drop him a line, personal. Tell him personally how thankful I am to him because he's definitely this one put the spark in me that the other ones haven't.
Okay.
The other ones I was just there doing my business and moving on. This one was I. I got you.
Hmm.
I got you. I got you. It's time to get my ass up off the sideline and get in the game. I got you. I see
Yeah.
where you're going. I see what you're doing. Okay, we can do this. And yeah, Thomas, you motivated me as well. Obviously, with you being the vice president of your chapter there in the Twin Cities, um, that was already a little okay. Well, Tom is doing this thing. Maybe I need to look at this thing a little different. Maybe I shouldn't be so critical. Maybe I should do a little shum. And again, though, with the national convention, that really iced the cake for me. Like, okay, I got you. I see what I need to do because you can talk about it all day long, right? And one of the biggest things about what we do is we try not to be a part of the story unless it's a great thing, and we'll talk about that later with the food giveaway in the Twin Cities. That's a great thing that we are a part of that story. But
Yeah.
outside of that, we try not to be a part of the story. We try to be objective so that we can give the story to the people objectively, not subjectively.
Thanks.
But again, yeah, this one moved the needle for me a little more. This one was something I think more people need to know about. They may not need to see everything or hear everything, but they at least need to know about things.
Well,
That is a huge selling point.
I think this time around though is I don't know. We got a delay, but I think this time around they stood on 10 toes when it comes to not inviting Trump. I also
Yep,
think they're talking about the urgency of now and what we need to do as a collective.
that was it.
And,
That was
and
the theme, the urgency of now. Thank you, thank
yes,
you.
And I think that that's really what we have to wake up. And the NAACP is important because a lot of what we would consider bougie, upper high class Negroes are part of the NAACP. The folks
Damn
who get
sure.
5 vacations, the folks who are bragging about being early nesters, but also have the relatives and community members that they've made a lot of money off of, who are now about to struggle at the hand of this administration. So I'm happy that they're talking about the urgency now. And I would say to anyone, you should join the local NAACP or the Urban League. It doesn't make sense for our community to belong to, and I said this on the radio here last week. Anytime something happens in our community, we'll scream and say, "Where's the NAACP? Where's the Urban League? Where's the black churches?" But there's never a request from our community to be a part of the NAACP or to be part of the Urban League or to go join the church. So when something happens, you want these people to come to your side. You don't ask the clubs that you frequent to on a lot of times, the vacation resorts that you come to. They never have to be responsible for protecting the community. But the people that's in your community that will do the work, you won't join them. So uh, when myself and Black Civic Network a few years ago, we went to the ADOS conference, the first one inside of Louisville. And the first thing that they said at the ADOS conference, that when you guys go back, we want you to go and join all of the legacy organizations. We need to take the legacy organizations and we need to build those organizations back up to what they once were. So I'm happy that you were there. I'm hoping that you do join. I know Rodney is down with the NAACP down inside of Vegas, as well as the National Action Network. But we need those organizations to have that urgency and now to speak that amongst our community. When I'm hearing people talking about we on the sidelines and we tired, no, you listen. You want a battle, we in a war. When you in war, you don't go on vacation and war. And if
Mm,
that's not that's what you trying to do, then get out of the way. You're not meant to be on the field, because you don't take vacations when you have something like this that's moving so fast against the people. And so this is really crafting the true leadership versus the pseudo leadership. The pseudo leadership, they're tired. Oh, we just voted. And we tired of carrying the water. That's not how that works. You fight until the fight is over. And you fight till the enemy can't get up again. You don't say, "Well, I'm so tired." So I'm glad the president stepped up and he said what he stated in the NAACP. I keep forgetting the brother's name, but y'all know how I am. I don't even, everybody's a common person to me. So, but
we had him on the show, and isn't he from Missouri, Rashi?
mhm.
I think he's from St. Louis, if memory
Yeah,
serves me.
That's possible. That's possible.
Ron Johnson, Robert Johnson.
Now if you type in NAACP North Carolina, they have the highlights and snippets, so you can go and see some of the information. You can do it on YouTube as well. They have some of the information. So if you are interested, listener, in getting familiar with the information these brothers are sharing, you can see firsthand at NAACP backslash North Carolina.
Derek. Derek Johnson. Thank you, Rodney.
yeah, Derek Johnson. So yeah, so shout out to Derek Johnson, and like I said, that urgency and now, especially what we're seeing going on around the country, man. I still keep thinking about that baseball practice out there in California with all of those people running. And you have these masked ICE agents chasing behind these people, and then you think about what they call a gator alligator Alcatraz, and you think about the picture from slavery when they were using the black child as gator bait, and that was done right there in Florida, and seeing us trying to separate ourselves from it, because what we have to understand, the way that Stephen Miller is thinking, first we'll deal with the Latinos and then we'll go for the black folks. So we have to be aware and we have to be watching this stuff. And I'm gonna tell y'all, stop using Jesus, stop using Allah, stop using all of these excuses thinking that that's gonna shield you. You're not gonna be able to toxic positivity this situation away. People
Mm.
have to stand up. Don't nobody want to hear about your feelings, your thoughts, or whatever. Because when it knocks on your door, some of you look like some Haitians that they just expelled 500,000 of them.
Woo, say that.
You can be taken off the streets. And by the way, one of the prosecutors from ICE stated they are looking to get American citizens. It does not matter whether you are a citizen or not. If they want you gone, they can get you gone. So we need to wake up. A salute to you, brother. I'm glad you went, man, for sure, for sure.
Ah, no problem, no problem. Yeah, definitely, bro. I mean, um, not only has it become customary, because it has. We've been to a number of their conventions over the years. Vegas twice, obviously. Baltimore once. Now Charlotte. I didn't. I don't think I did. I didn't do Philly or someplace else. It's been a couple that we've missed, but I've tried to be consistent as much as possible in doing it. I will be in Chicago next year. I was talking trash that I wasn't going to go, but I got to go. So I will be. Yeah,
I'm
I
just,
know. I was talking
I'm,
trash. I was like,
I'm,
Sky, I'm gonna go. I'll be there.
I'll
So
make it to Chicago.
I'm already gonna be ready to make that trip and work that out. And you know, Charlotte was a great host city for the venue. I'm trying to figure out how to put that, because I'm still yearning to connect the dots with Charlotte and a lot of great blackness, but yeah, you got to put it somewhere, right?
Yeah.
The venue was very beautiful. It was definitely big enough.
Mhm.
People came. Those are the most important things, to be honest with you. I'm not running around looking for celebs. That doesn't do anything for me. I'm not running around looking for politicians. That doesn't do anything for me. If I happen to bump into you, I bump into you. If I don't, I don't. Whatever. Ran into an Air Force veteran that I need to connect you, brother Barry, with, because he and his partner, not like that. Their business partners are doing, yeah, they're doing some work, and I think it ties very well into what you're doing, Thomas. But I want them on the show to talk about what they're doing. Ran into some other folks along the way as well. Hopefully, that can help me, and then I can turn them on, flip them, and have them help some other people. Young lady was sitting set up next to Kim. She's a designer. She just so happens to be out of Atlanta, and she was doing her thing. Very proud of her. There were a number of organizations that Wells Fargo is always present.
Yep. That's why I was in
They
Charlotte. That's why
yeah,
Charlotte.
they and Bank of America are always present.
That's why
Um,
Charlotte.
yeah, yeah, around the NAACP events. So that's always interesting, knowing their history, especially with Black people in America. But maybe that's their way of giving back. I have no idea. Walmart had a huge presence this year as well. Target not so much, but Walmart did. They were handing out samples and stuff if you went
So,
downstairs to the
so, so wait
other.
a minute. Hold on a second. So what the NAACP, and this is just what I know. They're not boycotting Target.
Correct,
So,
correct.
so if Target wasn't there, it was probably more of a, whatever the case, because of Walmart or whatever. But I always say that those banking agencies, especially right there, we talk about Bank of America. Bank of
Right,
America took all of Haiti's riches when they had to pay after defeating the
the
French.
French.
And that's how they built their coffers up, and they brought it right there, right there to Charlotte. And so I think a lot of times that these banks, they intercede because they want to make sure that we're not getting too far off and getting into liberation. So sometimes
Mm,
the payment is just there, or the support is there to make sure we don't get too radical. But that whole Tobacco Road area, that's why Charlotte is important, and we need to look at the historical significance of North Carolina. And most of our people, when they got here, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina,
mhm,
Maryland, those are the four entry points from chattel slavery into this country early on. And then later, they started coming by way of Louisiana and other places coming up through. And they would typically bring the ones from Haiti that was rebelling. If they could catch them, they would bring them to Louisiana. That's why you have so much of the voodoo culture inside of Louisiana. But that area in Carolina is very important. Tobacco, cotton, sugar, etc. That's a um,
Rice.
rice.
Yeah, rice. Yeah.
Like when you really think about it, and then think about how the banks have centralized themselves inside of Charlotte, right, and in Carolina, and you got to think about it. N- None of the people that came over here that brought slaves were actually called a country, or they said this wasn't for Spain or this wasn't for England. Remember, it was the Dutch company. It was the so and so company. And so when you think about the significance and why they need Charlotte and why those banks are always participating, because they were doing it with Tavis Smiley too. Wells Fargo supported every last one of the State of the Black Union conversations. BP always supports, but that's just so they can keep tabs on the show.
Mm, I feel that. I feel that. That's what's up. But yeah, um, again, it was great. Great conference. It was a. It rained like a mofo, so
Mhm.
I can't say it was a great time afterwards. Plus, I wasn't into that crap. By the time I had driven up, gone to sleep, woke up, got my butt out ready in order to be pseudo on time for the show,
Mm,
did the show, then hit the street, the conference that is, and did that whole piece. Was there pretty much well, that's not true. I was there Saturday late, Sunday. I stayed longer than I said I was going to do because honestly, Sunday all I wanted to do was pop up, see if I can run into a person or two, which
mm,
actually worked out. It actually worked out,
yeah.
and then I was gone. But the real cat that I was looking for, I didn't see him. Who was one of the ambassadors for the conference coming to Charlotte? He's the
Mm,
young fella that we met, Rodney in Vegas, the older guy. But I ran into him back in Charlotte a couple times when I was in Charlotte, still living and stuff. And I ran into him on Saturday. I was trying to circle back to run into him again on Sunday, but that didn't work. But that's okay. Uh, but yeah, it worked. Got in, got out, did what I needed to do, snapped some photos. Matter of fact, I got to post them. I'm sorry, I did not post them. I didn't post the videos either, but I'll post that stuff up. And it was a good look. It was a good look. Got back home at a decent hour. Got to go to sleep, wake up, and start my week all over again. You know what I'm saying? So
mhm.
I'm stable, able this week, potentially next week as well. For a couple of weeks, I'm thinking, and then
You coming to
it's
Minneapolis?
back on the road again.
When you
Huh?
come? When you coming to Minneapolis?
No, no, no. Well, shucks, I got to be in Jersey before then, and shucks, I come right back from that,
No, no, no.
and
This is something new. This is something new.
oh, okay.
No, so
Well, then I'll be in Minneapolis.
Minneapolis. You come to Minneapolis. Don't worry about it. Something new.
Gotcha.
Something
Hey,
new.
look,
This is
I
my
love, I
first
love, I love it when it works out. You know what I'm saying? Look, all you gotta do is tell me where to be. I
time.
got you. I'll make it work. And
Yeah.
so Minneapolis. I'm sorry. Then then Jersey. Then
I mean,
Korea.
man,
Then
Rob.
out. Hell, then right back to Minneapolis because
There
we
we
got
go.
the gala to do in
Yep,
September.
yep, yep.
Oh my God, yo, amazing, right? So Southwest had that sale going on, the 50% off joint. Man, I had some credits on Southwest. So I did it. I've been saying for years that I wanted to go to Northern California. Got my ticket going to Northern California. It cost me $0. That
All
was
right.
lovely because I had some credits, right?
Yeah.
So then I was looking, and there's a ticket from San Francisco, I think, whatever, to Anchorage. So I'm gonna go to Alaska while I'm in California. Yeah, I'm gonna go to Alaska while I'm in
Hey,
California.
man, leave Sarah Palin alone, bro.
No, I'm not going to dang on Sarah Palin,
You know what I
but I
mean?
gotta
It's
go,
more
man.
like Sarah Palin need to leave him alone.
Yeah, for real, right? But she liked to dip her stick in the dark pool. So yeah, exactly. So yeah, man, I'm gonna go to Alaska. I'm I'm gonna go to Alaska. I'm a bump up, but god dang,
When are you
man,
going, Lee?
end of September.
No,
So
okay.
when we get back, yeah, when we get back from Minnesota, I'm home Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then I'm gone Thursday. I leave that Thursday. In San Francisco Thursday and was it Wednesday? No, I leave Wednesday. Yeah, I leave Wednesday. In San Francisco Wednesday night into Thursday. Catch the bird Thursday to go to Alaska for Thursday and a Friday, Friday and a Saturday. Yep. Come back to San Francisco Saturday, and do Saturday and a Sunday, then come back here. Yeah. Yep. I have a personal goal of seeing all 50 states. So if I do Alaska, that only leaves me with Montana, Idaho, North Dakota, South Dakota. That's it. That's it. That's four states.
Now, how do you consider yourself as visiting? Is it just stepping foot in the state? What's considered actually being there?
Well, over the years, it's been stepping foot in the state and going to Costco, because Costco and Walmart.
Mhm.
Because Costco and Walmart give you the true temperature of what the hell you going on. Because Costco tell you the folk that's just making it. I'm sorry, Walmart show you the folk that's just making it, and Costco show you them uppity Negroes. So I go to Costco to see how the upper crust is living, and I go to I go to Walmart to see how the normal people is living. So if I get the Walmart and Costco, I'd have made it. I'm officially in the state.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So speaking of
And
travel, speaking of
that's
travel,
it. Notice what I did in the Twin Cities. First on my agenda was going to Walmart. I was like, I gotta go to Walmart.
that's-
Why do you think that was? I had to, dog. That's how I do it. That's how I knock them off. Now North Dakota and South Dakota, that's gonna be a different damn beast because ain't nothing in them daggone states. I gotta figure that part out.
Hey, man, make sure you get one of those digital trackers so that we can know where you
Right,
are
exactly.
when
Right.
you are. So,
I ain't got no
you know,
problem.
I may
So
have to go up to Minneapolis and be standing by in case me and Thomas need to go and rescue you.
so I have joined the dark
Well,
side.
you already knew I wasn't coming, huh, Rodney?
I have joined the dark side. I have officially purchased an iPhone. Don't do it.
no,
Don't do
no.
it. Don't do it. Don't do it. So I have officially purchased an iPhone. I will officially put it in service as of today, more than likely. So I will be sharing my location when I go and make these trips, so that everything is everything. But yeah, definitely,
So speaking of
definitely.
trips, let's pivot to Epstein
Okay.
because I feel like I, I was watching CNN last night, and it occurred to me that this perverted president has a way of trying to skirt the fact that the public knows you, buddy. That was you who wrote that birthday letter, and you talked about here, wishing him more secrets
Mm-hmm.
and drawing the woman's curly pubic hairs on the card. Trump is playing a crazy game because he doesn't want people to know exactly how much of a pedophile he is. But I think that the Democrats should learn how to close the deal on this one. If MAGA is upset, this is not the time to get distracted. Stop saying that Epstein is small fries. And let me tell y'all why. What did Richard Nixon get impeached for? Watergate, right?
And Watergate was
And what was
when
Watergate? What was Watergate essentially about? What was it really?
Stealing files to burn them so he didn't get caught up in some crap.
Right. Go ahead, Rodney.
No, you guys are tracking fine. Keep going.
So if Watergate was about him stealing files to make sure what he doesn't get caught, and you have this elephant in the room where the right and the left agree. It does not matter who is on those files. We want the files. MAGA saying it. You got liberals saying it. You don't move from this conversation. As a matter of fact, if I am head of the DNC, I'm talking to the Congress, I'm talking to the Senate, and I'm talking to every governor in this country that's a Democrat, yo, I don't want to curse, but your behind better be on every Sunday show.
Now, did you see that he told the DOJ to release him?
No, he did not. See, that's the game that he's playing. So he's trying to have them release. They're telling the prosecutors to release things. That's not where the information is at. The information is what the FBI, which he has clearance over, that he can tell them to release. That's what you want released. What he's asking for them to release is things that's going to be redacted. You
Yes.
don't
Yeah.
want that. You want those files. You want to know exactly who was there. You want to hear what
When they were there.
when they were there, and the victims. The victims can tell you who they were. See, that's why I'm saying you got to close the deal. This is something that, listen, if they really focus, and I hate having to advise a bunch of white folks on how to fight white folks, but listen, at some point, we got to ask the question: do the Democrats want to win the fight, or are they throwing the fight? How you throw the fight? You seeing Cory Booker out there whining, talking about speaker, speaker. I know you're a respectful man. No,
No, you ain't.
we can't send that. Don't send Van Jones. No, you send the people that's going to demand and stay on topic. Y'all have been poisonous. You're going to, I just heard that 33 rural hospitals are about to shut down soon after this thing goes into effect, this law.
Oh yeah.
You have to, you got to put an end to it now. They need to hit the circuit. They need to demand, and they also need to play all of the other stuff that Trump has said about Epstein liking young girls, right? They need to really paint this picture, because that swelling of his hand, that swelling
How
didn't
about
just that didn't just start because of disease. That's called stress, ladies and gentlemen.
how about the fact that you should be grateful that someone of the level of Donald Trump popped your cherry? How about that? That shouldn't be talked about.
Well, I mean, you should, whatever it takes, but you have to have the right people that stand on code. The problem with the Democrats is they have a hard time staying on code. That's the reason why the whole big tent conversation don't work. You have somebody obnoxious as Trump, and you're trying to be careful so you don't offend the ally. If the ally really understand it's about winning, they wouldn't be caring about the little small things of finding offense.
Mm.
That's why that's why the Republicans have been able to rule the way that they have. So I'm telling people, folks need to really hone in on this, because if we let this go, if this goes just like the impeachment and everything else, pedophilia will be on the menu in this country. I guarantee it. The things that people were worried about, they'll start normalizing pedophilia.
Don't they have a new bill going where they have lowered the age of consent?
Well, the
Uh,
80% is lowered in a lot of states federally, but I will tell you, Rashi, it won't be no age of consent. They will open it up. And that's what they're working on. They will open up. People have to really tune in and stop. Like, these boys are sick. This is a sick collective. And if we don't deal with the sick collective properly, it's going to be problematic. So I hope that the Democrats, I mean, what do y'all think? I mean, who would y'all like to see hammering this message home? Because to me,
I mean, JC got some of it.
who?
Jasmine in there working it.
Jasmine? Okay, you
Yeah,
got
but she
Jasmine
can't do
right
it
there.
by herself.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, what did you just say?
She can't do it by herself.
Well, everybody who kind of does anything gets put out or ushered out or arrested or put out of the voted out of the group, like they just did. Oh boy, with his what she said, with his pimp cane. So
Al Green.
right. So you have to decide then, do I want to keep my job or do I want to stay effective in the moment? And it's a tightrope, fellas, and I don't think we have understood how how pervasive perversion is, and that when we get to chopping that list down, we not me, not the four on this panel. Hopefully, Mr. Rodney probably do get down, but we are going to lose some very prominent people who we thought we gonna say what,
But
not
So
isn't
blah
this a
blah blah.
Clyburn
He was,
issue?
yeah, not blah blah blah. He was on the plane too.
nope.
So it becomes a self-sacrificing.
But
If you want to know why, if you want to know a possible reason why Democrats are not rallied up, talking about perverts, it's because they would have to they would have to get rid of some of the perverts within not to say there's perverts everywhere, Barry. Perverts everywhere. Don't play female and male. Don't think I'm
so,
riding down.
so
But
Rashi,
in order to self purge, you would have to get rid of we would have to get rid of. I don't want to name their names, but I'm pretty sure we got them.
everything was not just providing kids. And I talked about this last week. It's very important. He was running a Ponzi scheme as well, giving pseudo financial advice. So some people were on that plane from the finances. The young girls can tell you who those other people were. Let the victims' testimonies sort them out. Now, according to Adam Schiff yesterday, the FBI was combing through the files to find anything with Trump's name on them to remove them.
Mhm.
And Trump ordered that. I'll ask again, what got Richard Nixon ran out of the White House? The Democrats have to learn how to fine tune the message. This is a slam dunk. And if they don't dunk the ball. I don't think it's about finding more Democrats being a part of it, and it may be. As I said last week, I think this is about campaign finance and getting people who are a part of APAC, getting people who are part of the Mossad, because Epstein was a part of the Mossad as well. He was working with the Israelis. This is about making sure that if
All
you
right.
tell the story, that they're worried about bringing
Okay.
national people, but international people down. We're talking about the Prince Charles and people like that that was there visiting that island.
Right.
What there
I
was,
want to ask you though,
So
brothers. Hold on before you go move on, because you just brought up um a very important part of this to me that I feel like nobody's talking about. Epstein was a high-ranking Jewish American. He was not Catholic or Christian. He's a Jewish American. He's a Ashkenazi Jew, and I just don't understand why there has been no because I'm telling you, when you get people like Diddy, it become a black man. It's a black man issue. When you get people even like Donald Trump, it become a perverted old white dude. But why has Jeffrey Epstein, in your opinions, fellas, been able to stay a perverted white dude and not necessarily dragged his Ashkenazi Jew brothers down with him?
that's why MAGA is upset, because now what you're starting to see is the splintering of white supremacy. When Marjorie Taylor Greene just put a bill out on the floor yesterday to stop funding Israel, it's the reason why. Because what the rest of those Southern white Republicans are saying is that, yeah, Epstein ain't one of us. Them Jews ain't none of us. That's what they're saying. And that is the split in the party. And Donald Trump was feeding these folks he was feeding the lions red meat. Rodney, he just didn't know what type of lions he were dealing with. Southern white folks really don't like Yankees to begin with. They think they slick, and they think they too damn good for their own kind. And so this was bound to happen. I just want to see what the Democrats do in response to it, because it's set up with him telling them that he think that they're stupid. I'm talking about Trump, that he doesn't want their votes anymore. You got Elon Musk saying his piece. This is a perfect storm. All the Democrats need to do, as the butterflies, flap your wings to keep the storm moving. Just keep flapping it and make sure that there's spill over, but don't let it go. If they don't want to give hearings, then you get on television, you find something to make sure that you stay constantly. Write op-ed pieces. It's just more that can be done in this situation, to me. And the way I feel like the public is responding, it's like, well, if you want a silver bullet, here you go. Here's a mutual thing right here that both sides can agree upon. You can shift your focus into something else, and that's fine. And you're going to be right back into disagreement. And when you're back in that disagreement, that's just going to power him more. Take him out now.
So you mentioned Adam Schiff. Did you note that the Fed has him under investigation for mortgage fraud, saying that yeah he misrepresented his legal residency when he
Man,
applied for a loan for
I,
his mortgage.
I stand with Adam Schiff. This is what Trump does to get revenge. No different than firing that young lady who the prosecutor on the Diddy case. Anything that the feds bring out on anybody at this point is pointless. They're here in Minneapolis right now, and they're trying to find people to talk about how there's been discrimination inside of grant processes. And, the racial discrimination is what they're calling it. So they're trying to get people to come down and have a conversation. I've been telling folks, don't go down because I know what it is. We got Feeding Our Future here. They're going to talk about the Somalis. They're going to talk about the grants of West Africans and East Africans or what have you. And then they're going to bring in Latinos and African Americans. And they're going to say who's been discriminated against is white people. So if you go down there and you help the DOJ while they're here, and if you're watching this, I want you to hear what I'm telling you. If you're Black, Latino, immigrant, whatever, and you go talk to this DOJ about racial discrimination, they are going to take what you say to embarrass the governor of this state, but they're also going to take what you say to make sure that none of the ethnic groups are able to get finances from the state again. They're going to say that it was racial discrimination because white folks didn't get it. So I wouldn't mess with this DOJ. Anything that they say is just pretty much from a racial slant.
I can see that. I can feel it. Um,
Hold on one second, if you don't mind, though, brothers. Now, do you remember us talking back in the day, Lee, about how if we wanted to see any justice within the policing department, that we were going to have to get federal investigations of any city with more than, say, 5 to 10% population of African Americans to come in to look at the books to see if they were doing I call it doing the Ferguson, where 90% of the traffic stops are African American and people are in jail for like I call it doing the Ferguson, but y'all can do it more research now. If we ignore the DOJ, if we do not engage with them, Thomas, how are we going to hold these individual police departments with these vampire racist policies and practices? Isn't it better to foster a relationship to where we can ask them to
No,
hold our local stuff
no,
accountable?
no.
Because how then are we going to address, if we turn the cold shoulder to the DOJ, how are we going to get someone to come in and investigate seriously and take seriously the crimes that we would like to lobby
They're not
against these
there.
races?
They're not there to be anti-racist about anything. That's the main thing. I feel it's this video that my brother Travis used to share all the time during Ferguson, where the protesters were fighting against the police, and the police shoot somebody with a rubber bullet or some bullets or whatever, and the protesters pick up the person and they bring the person over to the police after the police shot him. And that's how we think in this country. If we just get close to the white source, it's just we got to do something. You got to abstain from this group. This is a group that, if we really wanted to help ourselves with law enforcement or what have you, this is why we're creating 12 Watch. You have to track that data, and then that data has to be used for the next administration if we can get that far.
there you
But
go.
you can't trust this administration on its face because they are
Nope.
racist and they are treacherous. I'll say it again. If we're not watching what's happening in California to understand, and mind you, remember what they said. They were only going after the drug dealers, the killers, the rapists, and they weren't going after the workers or whatever, whatever. But look at what they're doing. If you go and you sit with them, soon as you speak out about the things that they do, I guarantee you that interview that you did, that's going to be put public. and you're going to be casted out of your community. We have to stop trying to figure out, and I'll say it again, you either want to be Toussaint or you want to be Desolé. Toussaint, you just trying to get the French to acknowledge you as a smart mind. You just really want to be a black Frenchman. Or do you want to be Desolé? Do you really want to be liberated? And that's something that we have to all.
No, it's not the dichotomy, brother. Why does it have to be always either or? There is a Dessalines, there is a Toussaint, and in the meantime, there is the masses of the Haitians getting information from both sides. What I'm asking is, you agree? Just tell me yes or no. Do you agree that the police, especially when we're dealing with cities that have at least 2 to 3 pockets of African Americans, that there
Rashi,
is a problem, and that if who are we going to address then?
Rashi, you got a madman who told you. This is where brothers be like, he already told you that the police is going to have carte blanche to do whatever the F they want to do. Now, if he told you that and you act like you don't understand that, then that's on you. And this is that thing that we do when people tell us what it is, that we try to ignore and hope that some by the good graces of his heart, Trump don't mean that. Trump runs the DOJ. So whatever Trump says is what they're going to do. So you can go talk to him. You can go talk and have that conversation, but he's already told you that the police got free reign. This is a man who said that he's going to let white citizens purge for an hour.
But it is a dichotomy, sis, and that is the reality of war. There's no middle ground in war. You either win or you lose. That's it. There's no middle ground. There's no such thing as a ceasefire. There's no such thing as a ceasefire because people in the middle of a ceasefire, Korea, prime example, is still under a ceasefire. People die in Korea every day, still under the terms or guise of a ceasefire. But there are American soldiers, sailors, airmen. There are North Korean soldiers, sailors, airmen. There are South Korean soldiers, sailors, airmen. Somebody dies in Korea every day as this ceasefire has continued since the 50s. But people are still dying. How the hell you die and it's under a ceasefire? You're supposed to not be firing. How that work? It's a fallacy. So it is a dichotomy. Either we push forward and get through with this regime, because this is a regime, it's not an administration at this point. I agree. It's a regime are trying to do to us, or we buckle and we all lose. And the sad part is, to Brother Barry's point, he already told us what he wants to do and what he is or is not going to do. We can no longer afford to sit around, hope, wait, wish that somehow or another he's going to change his mind. Because if he does,
Okay,
the chances are he's going to change his mind in a manner that is even more detrimental to us.
if we're
Yes.
serious about this, then our next move is the ICC. We create a petition in front of the ICC to get our president. I don't know if it's called. We don't actually have the no confidence vote, but we start the process. What?
But that's why we're talking about the Epstein thing, Rashi. The whole point is to get him out of there because that's the one thing that'll make the Republicans, based off of their party, impeach him. You have to get the information out there. That's why it's important. That's why people just need to keep their focus. That's why you don't talk about 5 different things when you know somebody, if the man's hand is swelling up and he's stressed out over the conversation, he's pretty much pleading and begging people to stop talking about it. And he's blaming the Democrats for coming up with this fake story, whatever the case may be. I can guarantee you, Comey, the prosecutor who prosecuted Epstein, she can tell you what's in those files. And I can guarantee you, if the
That's why she got fired.
100%. And if I was the Wall Street Journal, that $10 billion that he's suing them for, I would drop her $10 million for an exclusive interview. That's what I would do. Because at the end of the day, if everybody really wants to know, the emperor does not have no clothes on. He's an impulsive pervert. But that's what will get him out of office. But if people want to distract and talk about everything else, have at it. I just know In fighting, if I know you got a spot on your body that's weak, that's what I focus on. Cause I'm gonna get you on up out of there. I'm not gonna divert from getting you out of there. I don't know. Some people just, and the reason why I brought up Dessalines and Toussaint is some of us don't really have that get them out of there type mentality. We just want to talk.
Mamba mentality.
We just want to talk about it. And I'm gonna tell you that's why brothers don't come to the table. Because we're not trying to be fair in the fight, especially when we know somebody's fighting dirty already.
Yep. Rodney, you got anything to add?
I put it in the chat. I If this was a different administration, I would be with Sister Rashi 100%. I do believe that the Democrats should start an investigation, whether officially or unofficially, and that we should have always been a part of the International Criminal Court, and ultimately this should go to the ICC. So we should start that process right now. It should have been started, but recognize that with this current administration, unless we get some maggots to defect to our side, or just to sit it out, we still don't have the votes. But until we can get the
Oh,
votes, let's build. Until we can get the votes, let's build up the case. And I am with Thomas. This is a chink in the armor, and we need to expand it. We need to keep hitting it. We need to. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. And though I may not like maggots, if maggots is what I need to deal with to survive, then I guess I'm dealing with maggots. And then we can fight each other after we get rid of the existential threat to not just black people, to the country and to the world, because there's no place you can run and hide from him.
and I will say this. I think some people like Margie Taylor Greene, ironically, are flipping because it's a line that these Southerners have. They have a line, and they don't want to flip from this Epstein thing. You've been feeding me this for almost a decade. Now it's time to eat, and you telling me we ain't about to eat? Oh, heck no. And so I do believe that it's some there. But how do you, as the Democrats, and that's what I worry about, y'all. I worry that they don't know how to deliver it. I got a funny feeling by August they'll let this go. But if they really was serious about it, and this is why I agree with President Obama, they would toughen up and they would be disciplined and they would just punch until it collapsed. And that's what they have to do. They can't let it distract, and let Gavin Newsom and let some of these other governors let them talk about it. Right now we're talking about human trafficking and sex trafficking around the country, and that we know that these bitcoins are used for payment of these trafficked human beings. Well, guess what this president is doing? He's in bed with one of the biggest criminals of Bitcoin to get his going. As a matter of fact, I forget the Asian guy's name, but he's about to be pardoned thanks for his company helping create Trump's Bitcoin. So we have to really look at this to say, man, if we don't stop it now, and when I say we, I'm not saying this from a political aspect. Like Rodney said, this is for the betterment of the country as well as the world. This is a madman, and you can't appeal to the minds and the heart of this madman. He does not have it.
I mean, we might
So
be able to. We just have to send the message in the form of a very attractive, very young, blonde young lady, and he might hear that. It's the messenger. That's what I think. It's the messenger. Okay, fellas, this is one of the things I wanted to ask you about now, because sexual abuse is not a game. Now, I don't know if y'all know that there's hardly any even one family, and I'm not trying to get y'all to delve into your own families, but Of the four of us, I can guarantee there is one family with at least with sexual abuse, right? So when you start pushing against the campaign of sexual abuse of children, um, but you're not opening up any monies for therapy or any program, and and the priests, the Catholic Church priests are still paying off at the rate that they're paying off, right?
But that's but
Can you just say, hey, look, this is a country where, like Singapore, right? Or like, come on, y'all know where you can go buy you a little boy
but where
and
are you
have a
going?
weekend with him.
But here's what I'm saying, sister.
We are one of those nations. We're Singapore. We're
But
we're okay. Just get off our throne and say, if
but
you would
Rashi,
like, if you would
Rashi,
like a
Rashi.
Hispanic girl, 5 to 7 years old, in America, I can procure that for you. Just stop it.
But
Just stop
but Rashi,
pretending and
but
say
Rashi,
what we are.
but Rashi. I'm gonna go back to what I said again. This is Dessalines versus Toussaint, and I'm gonna say it, and this is perfectly what I mean. This is about the president of the United States being impeached, and now we're talking about people in our personal families. Even if it's in our personal families, it's still wrong. And if the truth has to come out, it just has to come out. Like, that's just what that boils down to. What happened with Epstein, with over 200,000 files and an entire island with all of these powerful people, right? Like, you, we can't conflate the two because my drunk uncle that might have been,
Yes.
but no, hold on a second, because my drunk uncle is not running no country. My drunk uncle is not determining the outcomes of nations of people. My drunk uncle is not dropping bombs on other folks. So when we conflate the two and we say, "Oh, we're just a country of," then that's letting them off the hook. And that's the distraction piece that I'm talking about. So now we're just saying because everybody else do it, it's okay. Let Donald go. When we talk about this, then we got to be worried about our family members. No, when we talk about it, we talk about it. And if we need to give people therapy, we give them therapy. But we got to stop trying to act. I'm gonna just say this and I'll rest. We either love white supremacy or we don't. Because all the other stuff that we try to play around with, it's either one or the other. Because anytime these white folks about to get something lumped upside their head, we start talking about what black folks are doing. Black folks ain't got nothing to do with Epstein Island. This is about Donald Trump and all those other dignitaries that were on that island that is ruining common people's lives every day. And your drunk uncle, your drunk cousin, your drunk big brother, or whatever the case may be, that may be a pedophile that we do not respect in our community, that we don't have love for in our community, we're still not going to equate them with those men because those men have damaged way more lives than those guys have. And at some point, we got to be able to make these rich folks pay the price for the wrong that they have done to common people.
Let's
So I just want to
go ahead,
let you
Rush.
here know this, that it doesn't matter if it's a rich dignitary or a drunk uncle. The residue on the mindset of the person that gets abused, it does not wash away. Therapy don't wash it away. A good relationship don't, even that person being persecuted does not wash it away. Once
Okay.
you lose your innocence, period, to someone who's decided to prey upon you, whether they are rich or not, it's a done deal. And hurt people have absolutely no problem hurting other people.
But
And
once
so
again, we had
just
the Me
hear that.
Too movement, and women were doing this, bringing other men down. And nobody was talking about none of this stuff at that time. When it was Bill Cosby, that wasn't the conversation. When it was Puff Daddy, that wasn't the conversation. When it was R. Kelly, that was not the conversation. We're talking about Donald Trump. And I don't understand anytime we're talking. I rest my case. I'm done. I ain't got nothing else to talk about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So agreed. And we will move on from this because we do have other things to talk about. But to go back to the beginning of it, we need to stay focused. The Democrats need to stay focused. They need to stay laser focused on this issue in order to raise it to a point where the Republicans can no longer dismiss it, where the Republicans cannot kick the can down the road or act like this is normal behavior, so it should be accepted. We need to understand as a whole that, to Thomas's point, we're talking about people, not just Trump, but people who have power over themselves, nations, and or bad actors who act on the behalf of other nations or their nation. And those folks need to be held to account. And that's about all we can say on that, because we got an hour left in the show and we still got a lot to talk about. Um, let's swing it to the Twin Cities and stay with Rodney and Thomas. You all pulled off something just lovely and special on Wednesday, despite the rain. Thomas, thank you for all the hard work that you put in with the local folks, the cities, getting the building, securing the transportation. Rodney, thank you for connecting the connect to make this happen. Thanks to the connect, she knows who she is. We ain't giving her no press. Ain't what we doing today. And she
Oh
get on my nerves. You know, she get on my nerves, right? She get on my nerves. We ain't giving her no press this morning. That ain't gonna happen.
Lee, don't be
Okay.
getting me in trouble now.
Look. I'll take all the press. She got my number. She can call me. I
Hey,
ain't scared of her
we want to
because
keep the
she's short
pipeline to
and
connect open.
feisty and feisty. But
yeah.
shouts out to the bros too that came in and stood in the gap to make this thing work. I know we had some logistical issues. I'm not going to talk too much, Simon. I'm gonna let you run it down how it went down. But all the volunteers
Mm.
that made it work as well. It's not possible without you all. Teamwork truly does make the dream work. I apologize. I could not be there. It was just one of those things that I couldn't swing. But y'all did it, man. Oh my goodness, y'all did it. And it looked lovely. Go ahead, Thomas. Now that you can take a breath, what happened, bro? Talk to us. Take
Well,
your victory.
I would say the first thing is the thanks that you said to Rodney is very important. Also, I want to give a shout out to the city of Brooklyn Park and Hollis Winston, because people were asking me why I wasn't in North Minneapolis. Well, the first thing is I'm a South Sider, not a North Sider. The second thing, you just got to make sure that's clear. I graduated from South High, not North High. I went to North High my freshman year, South Side. Second thing is that Hollis Winston answered the call. And that's very important because we called and we talked to a lot of elected officials and a lot of important people. And first I called I'm not even gonna put people on the list, but I called other places.
Well, you
And
better than me, because you know I would.
yeah, so I'm just trying to keep it as smooth as possible, just in case we have to come across them again. But I did call other people and I got assurances. But Hollis was the one person, even when Rodney and yourself was there, he took the meeting right away and he met us. And remember, he stuck around for a bit,
Right
right?
away.
You know,
Right away.
waiting on that conversation. So it was important. And I saying that to people, if you're watching, this is what you have to understand. A lot of times, things don't happen. You know, when folks say, "Hey, why did this happen this way?" It's really about who wants to do business with you. Even if you got a good thing going, it doesn't mean that people want to support. The second thing folks have to understand is the NAACP, Jabez, the Philando Castile Relief Foundation, the Watch Foundation, and the Pantry had to pay for the shipping of the food. We didn't get any money from any outside sources. We're not getting paid to do it. Everybody who showed up is a volunteer. Because when people talk about poverty pimping and things of that nature, no, everybody that you saw were contributing. They contributed to give back. That's very important to understand. Lastly, I want to thank everybody who volunteered, because those volunteers, whether it was the NAACP or my friends and family, and I'm talking about from Black Family Blueprint, Mujasi, Ayalanda, and their two sons, they were there all day. When we talk about Black Civic Network with my brother Nick Muhammad, when we talk about Black Bold and Brilliant with Wisdom Mausi and Nala Fierce, when we start talking about, those types of folks showing up, Dr. Kasim Abdul Razak, who's also a part of the Watch Foundation. We start talking about my brother Chris, my cousin Larry, brother Drew Edwards, my brother Drew Lemmy, right? We start talking about people in the community who showed up that didn't get a dollar, but they wanted to make sure that they helped other people because that's what community is about. The other thing that I want to say is that's very important. We did it with the right spirit in mind. The spirit was to make sure that those who could not eat could feed themselves. This had nothing to do with me getting attention. This has nothing to do with me getting props because what you'll find out even in this conversation, I don't like talking about me. I just don't. I want to shout out my brother Rodney because let me tell y'all, I would take 3 steps forward and 5 steps back. And I got a phone call and I had Rodney on the call on the 3-way. We had to really finagle the shipping company to get us where we needed them to go. And this is what I was dealing with behind the scenes. We got a donation from Amani Hooker, who's he's family. It's my son's best friend, but he's an NFL player. GoDaddy kicked the donation back. That money was supposed to go and take care of trucks and the whole nine. Like everything that we would push, they would pull, right? And so I just want to tell people it's a tedious process. I'm not going to say it's hard. It's tedious. However, we're going to do it again. And we're going to keep doing it until we make this pantry because people think it's about drops. We want a pantry. Why not have a pantry? And those people in the community who are 6-figure, 7-figure people, we got a full pantry, then you can go to the grocery store and buy things and drop it off and support those who have less than, right? Like if you work for corporations, if you work for a grocery store chain or whatever, you can talk to your people. I got someone over at Coke right now that's going to give us pallets for the next time that we do something. Like this is about community coming together, pulling their resources to take care of those who can't do it. Right. And so that's the thing that I want to talk about. There's been a lot of other stuff said, but the positivity on it is that, there was a sister that was there. She's having surgery. And this sister didn't know how she was going to feed herself. This is an elder, too, by the way. She didn't know how she was going to feed herself because they got all these cuts coming down. And so she was able to come and get some food. And she said, okay, well, this will allow me to recover and get back on my feet. So I was just proud that type of thing took place. Being able to look at my nephews, Kananda and Dwele, and watching them being able to help, being able to see Nala and doing what she does. I was just proud to see the young people out there helping. Shout out to Sister Myra. I don't want to forget her, or Sister Kay. And definitely the NAACP president, Cynthia Wilson, and the real boss of the NAACP is Sister Norma Anderson. And so I was just happy that those folks came out. Dr. Raj came out, and Dr. Raj got a lot of energy. And I was happy that brother Dr. Raj showed up. But this is what it means to really be communal. Because people do a lot of talking. I'm gonna just let y'all know, I don't go to a lot of community meetings. I don't do rallies. I don't do protests. But if you ask me to work for the people, I will show up and I will work. This was work. And people who came and helped, they were working. Them brothers, Chris, Travis, salute to y'all too. They didn't know what was going on outside of the truck because they were still unloading the truck while people were filling up their what's names. We're talking about a 53-foot truck that these brothers pretty much unloaded the entire truck the entire time. That's how much we were behind in time. Now, if we had more arms and legs to come out and help us, could we got it out there sooner? Yes. Would it have been a little bit more organized? Yes. But we made do with what we had, and we were blessed to be able to support those folks. One other thing that I do want to point out, too, is that if you really want to know how important this was, we had people who not just African American, we had Asian Americans, we had Latino Americans, we had white Americans, we had West Africans, people coming from Chaska, Shakopee, people coming from all over
Hennepin County,
all throughout Hennepin County to get this food. So when folks ask those questions, why wasn't it over north? Well, hey, your mayor Jacob Fry, I'm not calling that weasel. Just being honest with you.
Oh, so
Not,
you ain't putting people on blast, but you gonna put
he,
Jacob on blast.
he ain't one of us.
You let me
Right?
put people on blast.
Hey, listen, man, he ain't one of us. I'm not messing with that weasel or anybody that's down with that punk. So I'm not doing that. I'm just serious. That's y'all mayor. That's who y'all want to deal with. That's who y'all got voted in. I'm not doing that. But I would reach out to the black mayors throughout the Twin Cities. If Mayor Carter says somehow, some way, let's do a drop in St. Paul, those folks know how Tony Newborn is family. She works over there with Mayor Carter. If Tony calls me and asks me for anything, I'm gonna do it. Like if people really want to do something, we'll do it. But Hollis Winston answer the call. And that's what we have to start
Yep.
asking. Don't ask why we did it. Y'all should be asking why didn't some of these people
We'll do
answer
it
the
here.
call?
Why,
Because
and how can we help you duplicate the same thing for our people? That should be the question.
because
It shouldn't be anything but how can we help you duplicate the same thing for my folks because my community is in need as well. And if you have this hookup that's consistent, which we do, understand. Let's be clear about this. This isn't a one-off. This is something that we can do. If we can do it, because we do have the resource, why are you not calling and asking this man, this young lady, or myself, how can I get you to do the same for me here? That's all you gotta do.
and you know, Lee
That's all you gotta do.
and Rodney, the first city I went to, I know that they have a warehouse district that's empty, that's really in the Central Park where busing is at, and the whole nine, right next to the city of Brooklyn Center. I mean Brooklyn Park. I just said the name, so Brooklyn Center. I'll go ahead and say it. So I went and asked the mayor there, good sister April, and she told me all kinds of other stuff. You know, I appreciate you guys and everyone who had in this. I believe in serving, and anytime I need it, I'm willing to do so. Okay, well, hey, sister, hey, I'll definitely inbox you. We're definitely going to be working on something on the for 29th, 30th around that time. So I reached out, and all I was looking
I
for,
just
because
found out about that.
once again, I said, I just said a pantry. I just you got it right. So
So Lynette, don't feel bad because I was told earlier that I would be back in the Twin City. I just found out too.
so I reached out to them because they got the space more so than Brooklyn Park, which would have been perfect. So we're not trying to hoard. The other question that I got right away is this only for African Americans? And I'm like,
No.
have y'all been around African Americans at all? Do y'all not know how we operate? We feed whoever's hungry. That's always been a cultural thing in this society. Listen, we want justice from white folks. We don't want revenge. We'll feed them too. If they hungry and they get in there with their kids and they got fed, nobody would say, "Oh, you're not the right skin tone. Oh, you speak no English. Don't get out of line." It was an Asian woman. She didn't speak a bit of English, but the people who volunteered made sure that they got that woman what she needed. So I just want people to understand that we want to do it again and we're going to keep duplicating it. But the goal is to actually get a pantry so that we can provide other services to families. We want to give you therapeutic supports. We want to teach you how to fish. We want to do gardening. We want to do all of those other things that our community actually needs. So I hope moving forward that we get more support than we get people cackling about it. And I'll say this one more time. There was no check given to anybody out
None.
there. Now, I will say this while we're on the air. I will be contacting the Chamber of Black Commerce. I will be contacting the Council of Minnesota African Heritage. I will be contacting the county commissioner's office inside of Brooklyn Park. I mean, not in Hennepin County. Because the point of the matter is, I had to see 45 families who came afterwards who could not get food. And we had a truck of another 12 pallets that we could have brought our way. Now, if those people put in money, then those 45 families would have had that food when they showed up. And that's the part. Don't get upset with us. Don't get upset with the NAACP. Don't get upset with Valerie Castile. Get upset with the people that we were emailing to, not the city of Brooklyn Park, because they responded. Talk about the people who were not there. Because a lot of times people make assumptions of what they think they know. And by the way, the people who are donating this food, this is one of the largest food distributors in the world. They didn't give no BS food, Brother Lee. They had lamb chops, they had steak, they had ground turkey, they had water, They had cat
Cleaning
food,
products.
cleaning products, laundry detergent, right? They had cereal, right? They had bread, they had pizza, they had whatever you need, they had. So from a community aspect, you know, uh that's one of the things that people have to be able to focus. Because if you really want to be a part of what's going on, you have to ask the right people. If you got a chance for us to get this consistently, why aren't you using our taxpayer dollars to make sure that we're supporting him? I had an interview with Aromo TV yesterday, and she said, "Mr. Barry, your phone got to be ringing off the hook." I said, "No, sister, not at all. I didn't get a call from the county commissioners. I didn't get a call from the media, even though they called me and said they would be out there. They didn't come. I didn't get a call
Wow.
from
Stop. Pause. We got no media coverage from this.
hey, listen, I got a call from Fox 9 News that said that they was gonna do 3 segments. I ain't see Fox 9 News nowhere. I got a call from the spokesman recorder asking, can they come out? I said, yes, I'm the person. I emailed the sister back right away. Never got a follow-up. I emailed the local radio station there too, the press release, and we'll send press releases out again once we get everything situated. Started on Monday to let them know what's coming up again. But no, listen, people don't. I heard a young
You
man
think
say,
they thought you were joking? You think they didn't believe in the vision and the mission?
no, because every time I put something together, it goes well. So I don't. To me, honestly, this is what it is, brother. A lot of people, because of the feeding our future scandal, they don't really want to deal with it because it's become so toxic. When you steal $250 million and it becomes a federal thing, and it wasn't African Americans who done it, but people they're their own ethnic immigrant group when things are right, but when things go wrong, everybody's black. And so I'm black all the time. We don't get to escape being black. As African Americans, we always black. But everybody else get to choose when they can and can't be black. So that's the reason why they're not messing with it. And that's what kept coming up time and time again. So we'll do it again. I think next time out, I was talking to my brother Rodney. We're gonna call up the governor and some other folks, and we're gonna make sure that we get more people in the mix. But um, these people around here, and then you got local people too. It's people who got deeper pockets than everybody that was at the table. It's folks that man, listen, there's people I'm friends with on Facebook that I know if they can track down and try to, get women's home address for some Girl Scout cookies, they can certainly definitely get in and support money. These old heads is out, and I hate using the term, but that's the reason why stuff don't work around here. But we gonna shift that. We're gonna shift that. We're gonna make it better. We're gonna keep going and we're just gonna push to it. So I just say from right now, I got a direct line to the people because we saw how many people came out. We'll keep going and we'll keep growing it. And it's just time for a leadership shift anyway, because a lot of this is about how much people can get, the association with whiteness. I'm about feeding the people. I don't need to be associated with white folks. I don't need none of that. This ain't about the politics. I don't care if I wouldn't like if a person came with a MAGA hat on, but if they did show up and they wanted to eat, they can get some food too. It's not about politics. It's about feeding people and doing what's right for people and having that right energy. And that's what it is. We don't, it's about having that right energy. It's not about proving a point. It's just making sure folks are getting the resources need. So I just want to salute Miss Jones. I know we weren't supposed to give her props, but I did tell her, when I come out to Vegas, I'll make sure that I come with something nice in hand. I think we're gonna do something to salute that sister at the next drop. So be looking for that, and just trying to make it work.
That's what's up. That's what's up, brother Rodney. What did you think about it? We put a lot of work in this thing on the back end.
Well, I do want to shout out the people at UCO1, uh, the site manager there, the site lead, Rasta for Patel for giving us the okay to make it happen and coordinating with Miss Jones. For I believe it's Ricky and the other folks there that loaded up the truck because I wasn't there, which is why I have to be there because I'm the one responsible for loading the truck. So big shout out to them for making it happen. Even Paul, the truck driver, who knew what he was carrying, but he didn't know why he was carrying it. When he got to the site, I had a chance to talk to him. This is the guy who drove the food to the site. And he says, "Man, I want to be a part of this. I knew what I had, but I didn't knew why I had it. And I want to be a part however I can, you know, put me in." Even on the drive to with the Lyft driver, going back to the airport. And big shout out, I believe it was was
Dr.
it Doctor
Ross. Dr. Ross.
Raj, who actually paid for my Lyft ride back to the airport so I could catch my flight. He said, don't you even worry about that." Man, I was surprised. I'm not used to people paying for anything for me. And I couldn't even get my wallet out. He said, don't we got you. But on the way back to the airport, I'm with a sister and she says, "Hey, I got a cousin that has a box truck. We're looking for volunteer opportunities." I think she said a son or grandson that likes to volunteer and would love to be involved with this. How can we get involved? Do you need volunteers? Let's get the young people in it. So, yes, this is food, and it is about filling in some of the space in food insecurity, but it goes deeper than that. It is also about building community. And that community is the Black community, African American community, that expands into uh, brothers and sisters from the continent, but also how do we establish connections with other people, period. And you have oxygen, you have water, and you have food. Thanks to UCO1, Miss Jones, and Miss Patel, Rashta, we can help out with the water,
And
and
food.
we can help out with food. We have to leave air to God right now. But water and food, we can help basic needs of people, reach the brother, even in the lift coming to the event. It was actually one of the African brothers. I think he was from his ancestry, I believe, was Ethiopia. And I was telling him about what we were doing. And he was like, "Yeah, we had some problems with that. That's a good thing." And he was like, we need to build this relationship. And right here in Las Vegas, big shout out to brother Mara, who has the Africa Love Store, and he's doing a unity event. We're calling it the Kings event, where African Americans and Africans, kind of like a little bit like Thomas's reconciliation event. But this is specifically for African Americans and Africans, and we're going to see if we could bring some food out to that, because that's what brings us together historically. It's food. So we're
Yeah.
using food to feed people, but it's also more. Suppose you have a mass of people, maybe a couple of hundred people. Suppose we can bring social services out there. Maybe
Mm.
some of those people need social services, but they don't know where to
Healthcare
go,
people, right?
right?
Right.
With Brother Barry has a connect with one of the medical establishments out there. Maybe we can get the brothers' hearts checked. Maybe we can, have some stuff for the sisters out there. This
And
is an
it
opportunity.
sounds crazy, but that's where you get your library card. That's where you get your clothing pantry voucher thing, where you can go and get your clothing. In cities like LA, where they do extensive homelessness, care, there's places where they have lockers. When you actually put the least of the is what I believe y'all call them, right? You and Thomas Berry would be calling them the least of the in your Christian ways. When you really put them on the agenda,
Your
it
question.
becomes, when you have to put yourself in the mindset of the least of thee. And let me tell you, you talking to her. I've been in that line, and in that line, I've had what they call Cambodian lady in front of me, and a Hispanic lady behind me with two children, and we were all standing in the line for the clothing voucher and the food and whatnot. And so, what did we talk about? These nice. We found a language among us. I don't even. I'm pretty sure they don't speak each other's language, but we all settled on broken English. Yes, Yes, this nice. But you know, that's how I knew who was in my community. There's a Cambodian family in my community. How do I know? Because that's how the food's set up. The food is set up so that you come to your community and church centers and you get what you need from the church. So this is what I want to know. So have you all decided the church is not just, is the church there? Are you circumventing the church? Are they a part of it? Cause I that's where I got my last bag of beans, 2 cans of applesauce, 3 cans of tuna, a box of cornflakes, and a clothing voucher for $5. It was from the church. So, who, when you do this work, is it in conjunction with, or how are you all prepared to encompass the churches of the community, or is it, are they so inept that this is, you don't even put that in the factor?
Oh, no, no, no. I never say the black church is inept. I think that that would definitely be that would be a lie. There's a lot of black churches who do a lot of great work in North and South Minneapolis. I know a lot of them. They continue to do good work and fill in the gaps, and they also struggle to get funding and attention from these local politicians who sit on millions and sometimes billions of dollars. Jabez Home Services, the parent company for them is actually a church organization. I can't think of the name at this moment, but Pam White, who Minister Pam White, she is a part of the four lay collective of this. So no, the church is definitely at the table, and we're not limiting our partnerships with anyone. If more people want to
Right.
come to the table. All we're asking from those organizations, and this is just common sense stuff, because let's say hypothetically, Jabez, they say, hey, we got this church event going on and we want to feed people at our church. Well, the goal is to get the food out and feed directly to the people. If they want to take a couple pallets and they say, hey, we'll take those pallets and we got an event and we're gonna take it over there and feed. That works. That works too. So it's just all about how do we get the food to the people and making sure people are not selling the food. This is not about
Yes.
this is not an ego thing. It's none of the things that I think folks have been associating it with. It's just about coming to the table. And I'll just say how it happened, really was Brother Rodney and Lee coming to Minneapolis having a conversation. And I remember thinking about it and mulling it over and waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning because I was really like, man, I got so much on my plate. How the heck am I going to do this? And I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I was like, you know what? I can do it. And I started making phone calls and texts to other people. And then we sat down and we had breakfast and we talked more and more about it. And Brother Rodney, he kept on getting, Rodney, man, he gonna drill you with the do's and don'ts and the wills and wants, right? So he
Well,
was letting me know
Brother Thomas, look, if you feed the people, you always get the people's attention. You know what I'm saying? So look, what we need to do, I
100%.
think if you call somebody, all we got to do is sit down with them, and then we can work this thing out.
100%. 100%. And I will say that, just putting that whole piece together and with the Watch Foundation, this is actually within the mission of what we wanted to do with the Watch Foundation, was to support families who are in need, who are in crisis. And it also gives the Watch Foundation, my organization, the ability, Rashi, to give mental health supports to families who do show up, because we do have therapists and we're constantly growing our team of therapists to be able to help folks in crisis. That's why we want a pantry, a full-time pantry, so that we can give those full-time services to people so that they don't have to go and say, well, where do I find a black therapist? Well, we got them there at the pantry. If you can get food and therapy at the same time. And so it came about that way, and just constant conversation. One of the things that I love about Rodney and Patel, and make sure I'm saying Sister Jones, the Sister Patel and Sister Jones, is that they kept sending me photos, and I was able to put the photos out, and that built the anticipation for the community as well. So folks were able to see, like, no, this is real food, and this is happening in real time. So we kept the community abreast of everything that was happening. I overly posted on for a reason, right? And it kind of walked it in. And let me say this, y'all. It took a lot of people saying, okay, because it wasn't on everybody's mind. The NAACP, when I brought that to the table at our meeting, that wasn't something that was on their mind. But when I brought it together, they appreciated the idea because they know a food shortage is coming as well. And so they said, okay, let's do it. And I said, that's leadership. Leadership doesn't wait for the crisis to happen. You see the crisis is coming down the road and you start trying to help the people before the crisis come, right? So they said, okay. I was trying to find fiscal agents because, we're trying to move into the nonprofit space. Y'all know how many black organizations that I sat down here that kind of ghosted me about this whole thing? And I called Minister Pam. This sister called me about the spelling bee, Rodney. And I got to telling her about what was going on. And she was like, come meet me and let's talk about it. I think I can help. And that was it. Now, I want to say this to people because some folks were saying, hey, people were being greedy. Minister Pam, she services people with her group homes. I said, ma'am, do you need us to set anything aside for your residents to make sure that they are taken care of? She said, no, Thomas. What the Spirit is telling me and what God is telling me is that my people need to come and be a part of the community and they'll come get that food. This is about the community. Let's make sure whoever shows up can get the food. That's the type of people that we have at the table. John Thompson, shout out to my brother John Thompson, because John catches a lot of flack, but John has been a great connector for me. When we were thinking about the pantry, I didn't come up with the idea of just it's going to be Philando's Pantry. I was trying to figure out the rhyme or the reason, like what we're going to name it after. Then I got to thinking about Philando Castile, and I got to thinking about him feeding the children at the schools in St. Paul, and that being a part of his story after his demise. And then we talk so much about his demise, but we were not talking about the
His
humanitarian
life.
stuff that he was
Right.
doing during his life. And so, Brother John Thompson connected me with his mother, Mother Valerie Castile. And Mother Valerie Castile, she gave us her blessings when we came up with the idea for the logos. We made sure we ran the logos by her, and her family decided what the logo was going to be. We gave them the options, and they chose it. Same thing with the flyers. We let them see the flyers and the whole nine. So we did this with their blessing. And so it came together and once again, that wasn't on Mother Castile. That wasn't on her radar, but she was kind enough to give us that time to say, okay, this works. This fits into the spirit of who my son was. This fits into the mission that I want people to understand about my child. And so it just all came together. And so I want people to know that this was really pure. It was really just organic, and I'm happy, man. Listen, it wore my ass out. You know, yeah, it wore me
Welcome
out.
to Lee's
Yes,
world.
it will. Yes,
Welcome
Hey,
it
to
tell him,
Lee's
will.
let me
world.
tell you,
Yes,
let
it
me
I,
tell
will.
you
Tell
what
them that
happened when
community
you were
work.
in your
sisters, hey sisters, my brother didn't get a shoulder rub. I ain't get a leg rub. I ain't got it. Listen, man,
The Nation of
this is
Islam
probably one of the hardest things that I had to do because I was in isolation trying to focus to make sure I got it right. And so we got it done. And we're going to do it again. And then we're going to do it again. But while we're doing it again, we're going to do it again better. And this time out, we're going to ask community because we did it and we had a lot of people who said they loved it. Well, let's make it better. How do we make it better? Hey, maybe you want to donate some canned goods or some box goods to make sure we don't run out of food. Let's figure out ways and we'll come up with it. I don't have all the answers right now, but we can work together as a community to come with what's right and make sure that we make it consistent. We got to salute the people in Vegas. They didn't have to, Brother Rodney Smith did not have to share this resource with us. He could have shared it with Chicago. He could have shared it with Atlanta. He could have shared it with LA, Phoenix, or whatever. Minneapolis, we came right after Las Vegas. And it was a blessing that came right after Las Vegas. It's either we want the food or we don't. And I will tell you, some people got food that they could not afford in the grocery store.
say that again. Say that again. In abundance. In abundance.
Some too much in a little too much abundance, but we'll deal with that later.
Scarcity mindset. That scarcity mindset. Do you all have footage? Do you
Can't hear you, sis.
have? Oh,
Can hear you now.
you can hear me now.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Do you all have footage and pictures? Is there a place where
Yep.
this campaign was documented? Because
Yep.
I would like for you all to share what that, because that experience, being able to see the power of that experience, is what catalyzes. It helps. So
Yeah.
let's get out the www dot blah blah blah. Go here and tap
Now,
there.
so Rodney did a lot of Facebook lives. So he broadcasts a lot that way. The pictures, Thomas Berry has sent out the pictures that he has. So that's where they are. No www dots. It's all on basically on Facebook at some point. That's not a bad idea though to get a centralized location.
Well, we got a
Um,
website. We have a website for Philando's Pantry with
okay,
the Watch Foundation, NPLS.com. I didn't put the pictures up because the situation with GoDaddy, I'm looking to switch over the domains. Because the one thing about advocating, we have to learn how to stand up against bigger corporations. They charged me $180, even though we couldn't get that donation. I still got charged for that, right? And so for me, when you see a larger corporation, and let me let people know, I sent them 6 months of my bank statements. I showed them the correspondence with me in the city of Brooklyn Park. They asked for Amani's phone number. I gave it to them. They could have picked up the phone and called him or whatever. And the last question that I got was, well, why are you paying to get food shipped from Denver, Colorado to Minneapolis? And when I responded with the flyers and everything and showing them what we had going on, they not only told me I could not get the funds, but they shut down my merchant account behind the website. Now, mind you, I've been doing business with GoDaddy for the last 4 years with 12 Watch, the website. And so I've been getting commerce and everything being pushed out with the early subscriptions or sweatshirts or whatever the case through that. And I didn't have an issue. So with that, I'm just done with that. So once I switched the domain on, I just needed some rest time. I said I was going to do it the day after, but Monday I'll be on it, switching over, keeping the name, but just changing the website up. And then we'll just put the pictures up. We do got video up on Facebook. Shout out to Nala. Shout out to Brother Rodney. Shout out to the other young man. He came out there. He was the only person that came out. He did an interview with myself and Miss Castile. That video was also up on my Facebook page as well. I forget his name, but he comes out to all of the black events. This white guy, man, he's a cool cat too. And that's the other thing about allies. Allies show up.
Did you say he was a white guy?
He was a white guy.
So the only media, I just want to make sure. So the only media that came out
Yeah.
after you sent out the press releases
Mhm.
and made sure that the local black media got it, the only media that showed up was a white guy.
It was a white guy. That was it. That was it.
that's
I
bad.
appreciate him for showing up.
No, and salute to him, and I'm pretty sure because everything the NAACP does, he comes in support, and he's a solid cat when it comes to that. And we'll keep pushing. The main thing is we'll keep pushing on the second round. Hopefully, people will get it the next time. And sometimes it's like that when it's local. They have to see you succeed in order for them
Yep.
to grasp on to it. So we'll keep that in mind. We won't charge it. We won't charge it to their heart. We'll charge it to their head. Maybe they forgot or whatever. So we won't charge it to their heart. But just know, community, we're coming back. And if you want to volunteer, certainly inbox me. If you want to donate, whether it's food or money, certainly let me know. We need whatever so we can sustain it. We also have and shout out. You know who else I forgot to shout out? Because we talked about the brother with the 53 foot. But shout out to Patrick them. They had the little mini small box truck refrigerator. He had to go to a funeral. Another white guy. He shows up. He got his truck. We didn't have a forklift, but he allowed us to use his palletizer. We backed up. We used the palletizer to shift things over. And he left his truck there with us the entire time while he was at the funeral. He left around 10:30. He didn't pick his truck up again until about 3:34. But he trusted us with it. He loved the idea of what we had going on. So shout out to him. because that was another one of those positive things. Reaching out to them, it never was walking it back. It was, okay, how can we help you with this? We had pallets, and we were trying to figure out how to get rid of the pallets. I was like, hey man, well listen, I can go over there. We talked to the Asian market across the street. They'll take the pallets. He was like, oh, Thomas, don't worry about that. The company I work for will take all of those pallets and we'll make them do. Thank you for giving us those pallets, etc. But that's the kind of stuff, once again, that is
Hey,
community. Once
you know how
again,
much a pallet cost? I know they was happy to get their pallets. Man,
listen,
pallets are expensive, bro.
hey, bro, listen. I know they're expensive, but but the food distributor can afford them. I just want to say
Yeah.
it would have been more taxing on my back.
No, I'm with you.
And so I salute that man for being able to make it happen. But as I said about the thing, let other people make excuses. The rain, that's an excuse. We got it done. It was
Right.
a lot of food on there. And man, for a small ragtag group that we had, we got it done in a good time. No
That's what's
excuses made.
well.
You
Look, bro. Thank you all for bringing this into fruition. I'm glad to have played such a small part in it. I know that it looked like it was lovely, man, and
was.
you all deserve your flowers in this moment, without a doubt. We got 19 minutes left in the show. We got to hit a couple other things before we get up out of here. Rodney, is there anything you want to hit on before we switch over to Syria and the NFLPA or so on and so forth?
I just want to, again, big shout out to the folks at UCO1, the site lead, Rashta Patel, Miss Jones, for being the source and always being there for me, entrusting me with hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of product to represent them. uh, that's no small feat on their part. Uh, and again, to all of the volunteers in Minnesota uh, that came together, Brother Hollis for waiting like 3 hours for me to show up for that meeting. Um, Man, big shout out to you. That shows how serious you you were. And he showed up. I don't know if Brother Barry mentioned, but the president of the NAACP and Mayor Hollis showed up to the event. In other
Yeah.
words, this wasn't something that was out of sight, not of mind. They were present for it. So big shout out to them.
Cynthia
And
Wilson, the president. Yep.
That's
and
what's up. That's what's up.
just one more thing before we go. I came back in time enough just to go to the John Lewis event at the Dr. King statue here in Vegas that was put together by the National Action Network and Indivisible. And I'm just talking about that beloved community that Dr. King talked about. There was a bunch of white people that were in my hood that had probably never seen the Dr. King statue that came out. So allyship is important, but Dr. King called it the beloved community. That's where I stand, is in building that beloved community with everybody that wants to be a part. They were a part there in Minnesota, and they came out and represented at the Dr. King statue in recognition of the late Brother John Lewis.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Speaking of late no more, on Thursday, I believe, Stephen Colbert announced to the world, yeah, that his show was not being renewed at all. It was actually being canceled altogether. Now, this is seen. There's a couple of questions about that. We all know that Stephen Colbert has been a staunch pain in the tail to President Trump. He is definitely not a fan at all. The question of the cancellation is this really a politically motivated one, or is it a money one? So
That's no
CBS is
question.
merging, huh?
That's no question.
Well, CBS is merging with Skydance, and Skydance is led by David Ellison, who is the son of Oracle's Larry Ellison. Larry Ellison is a huge Trump supporter. Could it be that, or is it the fact that money is being lost on late night television? Now, according to sources, ad revenue in 2018 was a roughly 439 million, while ad revenue last year, 2024, was 220 million. This is across late night television as a whole, not just his show. So with that being roughly a 50% drop, the question is it worth keeping late night television going?
Yep.
Now, the hard part is most shows can transform or transition into streaming services, but shows like late night television tend to be very difficult to make that transition. And kids have a very short attention span, and those things take quite a bit of time to develop with the skits and the conversations tend to be longer, so on and so forth. So we'll see. We'll see. Wee Go says it's both. Yeah, I agree with that. I
So
think
it's
it
a
is a bit of both because I think that if if we saw the continuance of CBS without the merger, we would not be seeing the ending of his show. It's straight deading. But then the question is, who's next? Are other shows to follow? So we may be seeing a huge change in the landscape of what we know television to be in
So
the very
it's a
future.
monopoly problem.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then I saw just yesterday. Um, and this may not mean a thing to you all, but it means something. I love trains, so I'm just gonna do that. Union Pacific has offered to buy out Norfolk Southern.
Mm,
That is damn near a monopoly
mm.
when it comes to rail as well, right? That is a problem. But
Let's
this
go.
is the best time. This is the best time to do stuff like that because Trump and his administration is going to turn a blind eye to it. They don't care.
But that's why
le-
the Democrats have to run off of. I know it got Howard Dean into trouble, got him in trouble. But he said, when I get in, I'm busting all these media companies up because the airways belong to the public. What I want people to understand is this is what happens when the government does not enforce monopoly laws. And this happened under the Biden administration as well. They were not enforcing monopoly laws. Corporations buying up other corporations, setting the market to a certain extent, don't have to advertise because you own all of the market yourself. So there is no competing dollars. So that's why when people talk about there is no ad dollars, who you advertising against? Yourself? You don't you can raise the prices, you can gouge all you want to. This is about monopoly. And I'll say this again. I don't want the Dems to change their message on out of Epstein for this moment. But if they want to talk about how can they win the American people back to the polls, they have to talk about how you have to break these corporations up. Because these corporations, what's happening is that only a select few own everything. And so we're creating the robber barons all over. And that will lead to another recession and a deeper depression because rich people can't get enough of that money.
Yep, I don't disagree with that.
no, I
BB
want to
Ghost
hit this.
says
No, I believe
it's
we need to
rich
go back
folks'
to it.
problems, not ours. I disagree with that. It's definitely our problems because, to Brother Barry's point, when you are monopolizing like such, you can set the market rate, and then we are all forced to pay that market rate, and that is too damn high. It's too high. Your price is way too high. You need to cut it. But who would motivate you to cut it when you are the only source out there, or you are the biggest baddest joker on the block? So if you fool with somebody else and you need something to be there on time in good shape, who you gonna go to? You gonna go to me? Who
Mm.
can guarantee you is going to be there? Who's going to guarantee you is going to be in great shape? Or you going to them? You might pay less, but it might not get there on time. It might not be in the order that it needs to be upon arrival. So yeah, you saved a couple of coins, but you're paying on the back end big time.
Boy,
So
brother, right?
We allowed it. I disagree with
We,
that.
I do want to say that, and please don't write this down, but Kansas City got it right in this instance. What they do is you cannot have, we don't have Target, we have Target, but we don't have Kmart and uh,
Don't
Walmart.
nobody care,
There's no
bro.
Walmart in Kansas City. There's no all of that is in the outer skirts suburbs of the city. The actual city of Kansas City is about small business. And so what happens is you end up, and this is sound crazy, you want hardware stuff, you go to the hardware store, right? If you want art, you don't get it from Walmart. You get it from their art studios.
10
And
minutes
so
left.
when you
Go ahead, Rushy.
when you don't allow the corporations that undergo monopoly like behavior into your city, you open your city up for the individuals within to open up their businesses. You can really say we believe in small business. We believe in municipal power. Because if the businessman in the community is of the community, then when you talk price, you're not talking to someone who is not possibly even in the country or definitely not in your city. You're talking to the guy who's a part of the Better Business Chamber or the Better Business Bureau, or the Chamber of Commerce, the Black Chamber of Commerce within your city. And so when you do attack the idea of monopolism, be it unallowing, just not allowing conglomerates to just get all these, like you said, Thomas, they don't compete because they own both sides. When you shut down on that, there will be a draw away from that towards small business. So if there's nothing to fall back on, if there's no baker, if there's no butcher, if there's no liquor store, because that's my favorite black business of all, if there's no place to lean back on within your community to go with, not to Walmart, not to Lowe's, not to but to your local Ace Hardware, but it's a chain owned by the black dude who lives in a nice neighborhood within the city, though, within the city. So when there's an editorial in the paper about the cost of concrete being too high, and it's stalling the development of the city. You're not talking to a Chinese guy halfway around the world. I will close with this because I know you. Of course, now we have probably 8 minutes. That I was able to certify, that I was able to pass my exams, that I am now, as soon as I get a teacher's contract and pay whatever this licensure is, because apparently you got to pay to play. Once I pay this shake it tail fine, and I find a district, which I already have one, who's willing to honor a contract, I am now in it to win it, with where I can have full representation by my union. I can have
Congratulations.
and I can teach according to my doctrine without, and be able to stand on the validity of it based on my scores, and not have to 100% just do what somebody else said do because I'm being quote unquote trained. So I look forward to being the soldier in the forefront of education that I've always been. And thank you, Thomas, for the for the well wishes. I thought about that in the moment, as well as you, Brother Rodney, because you are always a champion of educating black children correctly, educating black children so that we can bust up the problem, the train of uh, white supremacist pathology thought. And so, if you guys will have yourselves a spritzer or whatever y'all do on my honor, and I would like for you to do that because I have been in the game for a while and I've seen quite a bit of stuff. And I think I've talked to you all about it, the ups and downs of being an educator in America, children missing, that poof, one day you just never see them again. You call, the numbers don't work. You send DFS, they don't know what you're talking about. Children disappear. I even was a victim of children, part of the immigration scare, who spent about 4 or 5 good months in my class. And when the rhetoric with Trump amped up, poof, they were gone. Good scores too, which was painful. And so education is taking on all of the battle and woes of the legislation that we have about to put forth. And I just want to let you know that I'm in it to win it, and that I've decided to hunker down and go in hard. Thank you all for this enlightening conversation. Barry, you when you talk to me about what GoDaddy is up to, it we need to have another discussion about this. When you get ready to do things that are important and you lean upon corporations that get the power to say yes and no, you can't have that money, yes and no, you can't put this message, yes and no, we'll squeeze your bandwidth, yes and no. So please table that discussion, Lee and Vaughn, and Lee and Barry, for in the future when we get ready to do work, revolutionary work like NAACP work. Philando are still feeding people. There's other things that we put it on there, and it's like, no, we can't do it that way, right? So let's discuss when we're not going to be able to do this. Who's cooperative? Who's not cooperative? Is PayPal how you want to go? Is Cash App the only way to, because they less stringent? So we have to discuss who is and is not willing to support forward movement, monetary, financial forward movement for real, in our struggle for enlightenment. So, fellas, thank y'all so much for your time. It's so good to see you. I apologize for me being so absent. Like I said, it's not an easy test, but it has to be done. And I look forward. I look forward to future conversations. Um, I got my granddaughter with me, so I'm bow on out. Y'all be good, okay?
All right, sister. Peace. Thomas, what you got?
Oh man, I wanted to just give my time over to Rodney. He was trying to get in, so I'll just peace out to everybody and hear what brother had to say.
All right, Rodney.
We won't have enough time, but I think we need to go back to that Stephen Colbert piece because this has nothing to do with money, but it has to do with executive overreach, power and control, and infringement on the First Amendment. And the First Amendment is the First Amendment for a purpose, and that's what it was all about. Anything else is just smokescreen.
I got you. Let me hit a couple of quick things. The executive director of the NFLPA, Lloyd Howell Jr., has decided to step down. There were two strip club trips that, in addition to the cover up or the lack of transparency with the collusion between the NFL ownership and the NFL, that led to his demise. Let me say this as well. Syria and Israel have agreed to a ceasefire that happened yesterday. It looks like over 300 people have lost their lives, killed in the Druze area, while clashes between the Beduini and the Druze were raging just Thursday. It looks like the ceasefire is holding as of now. In LA, again, Friday, three LA sheriff deputies were killed at a Monterey Park training facility. It looks like it may have been caused by a explosive device that was brought into the facility on Thursday. It was thought to be inert, but it looks like it detonated later on. This represents the largest loss of life for the LA Sheriff's Department since 1857. 1857. That's a lot. Family, again, congratulations to you, Thomas, to you, Rodney, to everybody that was in support of the Andrew Castillo Food Pantry and the food giveaway in the Twin Cities on Wednesday. Thank all the volunteers for braving the elements, and congratulations to the people for being blessed with food and other things that they very well may need in these times. It's crazy. There's nothing wrong with the strip club, but it's when you charge it to the NFLPA. There's something wrong with that when you're making between 3.5 and $4 million a year. There's something wrong with that. That expense shouldn't have come from them. That should have actually came out of your own pocket. But you know. Some people like to support single mothers, so I understand. It is what it is. Look, you all be good. You all be safe. Thank you for joining us, family. Thank you for those who are watching. Can't say listening anymore. Watching live, those who watch later. As always, we wish you well. And if nobody told you, we love you and the damn thing you can do about it. Until next week, family. Peace.